Leo Stulen says he was tricked into signing away his life savings.
They're so greedy to get that almighty dollar because they're going to make a big commission that they'll do anything to get it.
You're welcome.
For Leo, it all began at a free seminar like this, offering tips on how to protect your retirement nest egg.
Thank you for being our guest this afternoon.
Some seminars provide useful information, but authorities say too often, instead of simply calling themselves insurance salesmen, the people giving them cloak themselves in fancy titles.
And what's more important is that Randy is a certified senior advisor.
Some even claim to have written books or magazine articles.
Also cover stories and interview with Randy.
The idea is nothing more than trying to convince the public that you're something you're not.
Financial advisor.
Senior wealth advisor. I've seen them all.
Joe Borg is one of the experts who testified at a recent Senate hearing on questionable sales to seniors. Borg is director of the Alabama Securities Commission and part of a multi-state task force investigating the possibility of fraud in the sale of retirement investments to seniors.
Maybe they're not really qualified.
Dateline is about to take our hidden cameras inside some of those seminars, and we'll be asking Joe Borg to help evaluate the sales pitches. It's a Thursday night at the local steakhouse in Moulton, Alabama.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello, how are you?
James Rieger.
Steve.
This insurance salesman has invited retirees and people approaching retirement to an informational seminar. And as bait, Jim Rieger is offering everyone who attends a free steak dinner.
What side would you like? We have fries, baked potato, onion rings, rice, or veggies.
But before we're served, there's Jim's low-key presentation.
So there's a lot of bad advice going around.
He begins by saying he's just trying to help you. He's not selling anything at the meeting tonight.
I have no agenda when I see people.
Too often, Joe Borg says that's just a come-on to set up a face-to-face meeting.
The only reason they do free lunches, free dinners, free seminars is to sell product. The agenda is buy my product.
The first step, scare tactics.
Did anybody ever do a check on the financial strength of FDIC?
Jim Rieger warns that money in the bank isn't as safe as you think. He questions the stability of the government agency that guarantees bank accounts, the FDIC.
Does anybody have a guess what the rating is for FDIC? Even though it's backed by the government, it's still F-.
Did you realize that our own government, FDIC, was rated F-?
I had no idea.
Is that a scare tactic?
Of course it's a scare tactic.
Dateline check. There is no such rating. And the fact is, no one has ever lost a dime on FDIC-insured deposits.
Except you don't have to pay the tax.
The next step, the big promise.
And there's another type called an equity index annuity. It's that ratchet annuity concept.
Jim Rieger says he has a way to make your money go up, up, up. It's called an indexed annuity. Remember, that's the same kind of annuity Leo Stulen bought back in Minnesota. They're sold by insurance companies and linked to the stock market. And unless you pay stiff surrender penalties, they tie up most of your money for years.
Because
That's why Jim Rieger warns you don't want to put too much money in what he calls ratchet annuities.
Y'all know how ratchets work, right? They only go one way, don't they?
Finally, the clincher. You can't lose a dime.
As the market grows in this kind of annuity, your account grows, right? If the market goes down, aren't your funds insured? Well, they are. So if the market collapses, your account never goes down.
That's true if you keep your money invested for the length of the annuity, which invariably means years. But Joe Borg says people can lose big if you have to take your money out early.
They would pay the surrender charges, which could be 10, 15, 18%. And basically, they would come out with less than they put in.
Less than what they put in?
Oh, absolutely.
Would you recommend one of these to your mother?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend them to anybody.
If you read and understand the fine print in annuity contracts, you'll find out about surrender penalties. But many of us rely on salesmen like Jim Rieger to explain things. The question, will he be honest about those big penalties when he's alone with a senior? To find out, Dateline rented a house in a small town near Birmingham, Alabama, and began wiring it with hidden cameras.
Hey, hello. Good to see you. Thank you.
We ask a volunteer in his 70s to listen to the sales pitch.
5 after. Yeah. Come on, have a seat. Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks.
And we invite Jim Rieger to make a house call.
No, because I don't really sell anything at all. I'm not here for an agenda.
He says he's not here to sell, but it doesn't take long before he starts talking up those equity-indexed annuities that could earn him big commissions.
So this is one of those perfect things where if the market goes up, it soaks up the gains. If the market crashes, your asset still remains here.
There's plenty of talk about what you can gain, but the key question is, will he tell us about those big surrender penalties if you try to get your money out early? Our volunteer is about to ask.
Well, if I get in the jam, or let's say I have a lot of medicine expenses,
you can dip in and take more.
If I need a cash,
you can take more.
There's no mention of big penalties. But before we can ask more questions, something happens that we never imagined.
What is this little box here?
Damn, I don't know.
One of our hidden microphones has been knocked loose.
It's kind of weird though. Dropped on. Coffee table. It's weird. Anyway, never seen one.
We've been made. Whatever he thinks the microphone is, he decides to leave before we get a chance to ask him any tough questions.
Thank you so much for coming by.
You're welcome.
Later, his lawyer told us Rieger always gives a full explanation of surrender penalties before he completes a sale.